And this is The In Show. And I'm your host, Gus Summer. It's good to be back with you today. We are broadcasting live, that's right, from the Sunset Strip in the entertainment capital of the world, Hollywood. And we have another great show. We have in-studio guest, co-founder, president, all sorts of wonderful titles, director, right, of New Media Film Festival, Miss Susan Johnston. How are you, Susan?
I'm doing great, Gus. Thanks for having me in today.
I'm delighted, because I'm a big movie guy.
Yay!
So film festivals, I'm just giddy.
Well, we need you because we have 84 films from 17 countries, so it's a great opportunity to hear stories from all around the world, different cultures, different categories.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think film festivals are just one of those gems that gives filmmakers that opportunity to really get their product out there and known. So, God bless you guys.
Well, thank you. And it's really interesting because each film festival does do different things. So filmmakers should really find the right fit of a festival to enter because there's so many.
Right, exactly. So, there's so many questions I want to ask you because you do so much. Tell me, about the new media. How did it come to fruition? What was the genesis, that moment we thought, I'm going to do this?
Well, that's a great question. It started when I have a production company, and it won a couple of awards, and it does films and live events. And I was producing live events for people, and they were doing really well, and then they'd go in-house just because it was more cost-effective, and I had built the infrastructure already. And so another group, and really high level, it was attached to the United Nations, asked me, and it was all about, conscious storytelling. How do we get stories out to the world that elevate humanity? And right. I love the idea. That's been a passion of mine all my life, but I did not want to get involved again to be torn away from a family. I said, well, I've been trying to create my own family for several years and it's not kind of working. So let me build a family that I'm the grand poobah versus I'm being hired by them. And I know that might sound a little crazy, but I grew up in the business. And when I grew up in the business, we would have these little families. We would be families forever, but we'd kind of go on our way. And I missed that. And I just kind of told them lovingly, I said, listen, let me go home. Let me think about this. And I went to sleep. And in my sleep, I processed. And I went, okay, how can we tell great stories to the world? How can we elevate the consciousness of people that are watching these films? And it came to me to do a film festival from experience working with the film commissions back east.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I'm sorry, that was a long way around that.
No, not at all. There's so much wealth of information there.
I've been around a long time.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, well, it's really funny. I met Robert Redford on the set of The Great Gatsby.
Right.
And I just went, wow, I have been in the business a long time because I was a kid. My dad was doing the antique cars, and he would take me with him wherever he was working, and he was always doing something different because we were on the East Coast, and it wasn't, Hollywood at the time. So he was doing different jobs, and he did everything. He had me do everything from light shows to play tambourine in bands to do a soundboard. I mean, this is all while I was, up until high school. So.
That's fantastic. So your father, was he was into cars? He liked restoring cars?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Really?
I'm just going to say it now because he can't get arrested. But he used to work at a chop shop where they would take, and I was fascinated by this little gas cylinder that had the flame coming out.
Right.
The torches.
Yes.
Fascinated. And they would take a car apart and they would put things together. And then only did I find out from my junior high school bus driver who worked with my dad that was a chop shop. But it was fun.
It was just
body work.
Job.
Most of it was body work.
Okay.
They loved the lines of cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was his connection with Hollywood, the movie,
yep,
the cars?
That was his connection, was the antique cars.
Oh, interesting. And he was also an entertainer then as
he
well?
He was an entertainer.
Okay.
Entertainer. He actually went... He actually was in music and got accepted to college when you actually had to audition to go to a music school.
Right.
So and his father was a big band leader.
Really?
So it goes back.
Wow.
It goes back.
So, do you play an instrument? You play tambourine?
Well, I play tambourine. I'm actually a vocalist. I used to play concert piano, but that was years and years and years ago. I've been in a band for 15 years, and I actually gave up the band for the festival. That's how
Really?
strong this calling was.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But the things that have happened in 4 years for a global community of storytellers,
Yes.
because we honor all media. So we have an international art exhibit, and this year we have Brent Armstrong, who is a sculptor, and he actually sculpted King Kong. Now I wanted King Kong, but King Kong's 14 feet tall, and he cost $1,000 to insure. So I'm saying, oh, Brent, what else can you bring? And then Zach Gruber did oil paintings, and then John Fasano is bringing these amazing photographic portraits. So we have media all
Right.
over, always.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And the King Kong, was that from this current version, or was that the Jeff Bridges one?
No, that was sometime in the last 10 years. So I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know what year
Okay.
your frame reference is for
Right.
the movie you were discussing.
Okay.
But I met him at Carla Lemley's 100th birthday party. She is the niece of the gentleman who created Universal Studios.
Amazing.
And so it was around that time. And I
Yes.
think she's 103 now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm sure she's spiced it
Oh,
spry.
she is
and
fantastic. She actually spoke in the first Universal talkie, and that was in Dracula. And I met Dracula's grandson, or great-grandson, because of that. And she was also in Phantom of the Opera.
Really? With Lon Chaney?
Yes!
Oh, you get
I know. Welcome to Hollywood. You
that's-
just never know who you're going to bump into,
That's
even 100 years later.
Yeah, literally.
Literally. And she's delightful. May we all have that much energy, even at 80.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You brought up that your father would put you in different events. So, what was your first calling to entertainment, or you wanted to be a part of Hollywood or just the whole industry?
I remember being a brownie, which is before a Girl Scout, and I was in a play, and I was a flower. But so a flower meant I was behind this cutout of a pretty, pretty flower, and the flower fell, and the whole audience laughed. And that was when I went, oh, I like this.
Really?
But I was much more an ego and attention getting back then.
Sure.
Now I'm almost the opposite. I'm so private. I had a party at my house,
Yes.
and one of my friends said, "When are you going to give out the bat coordinates?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You never gave us your home address." And I went, "Okay, I have privacy issues." Yeah. Yeah.
You'll find me. You'll find me. Just drive and you'll find my house.
So you
had to give it out.
Well, I did. I had to give it out, and it was a fun party.
That's great.
Yeah.
Was it related to the new media, the festival, or is it just a private party?
I have had parties
Yes.
for the festival, and
Yes.
they've been at the House of Blues Foundation Room.
Okay.
They are absolutely amazing there. I love Denise Farnane, so anybody wants a party, call her up because she hooks it up.
Wow.
But prior to that, I would socialize. I haven't really socialized other than the festival, which I'm not complaining, for 4 years. So, yeah.
And before you were able to go around with the band. And
Yes. Oh gosh, yeah, the band. I love my band.
Can I ask your band's name? I know.
Yeah, this particular one, because I'm a singer-songwriter, so I had a couple of songs national,
Yes.
and that was a different band. But this particular band, believe it or not, you're going to laugh. I'm Stevie Nicks in Rumors, a tribute to Fleetwood Mac, and we opened up for Kansas, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. We on stage with Blood, Sweat, and Tears, the Turtles.
The Turtles.
My keyboardist almost ran over a turtle. We had a good chuckle about that. So, yeah. But their lives are a little more intricate than mine, and they're a little older than me.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more of an effort. Although we keep getting gigs, which is fantastic. I just have to decline them.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you have to find another Stevie Nicks.
No, we're actually, when you're with a band 15 years,
Yeah.
it's hard to replace a player because it's so in the zone.
Right.
And they're not about that. We just did it because they were great gigs. I mean, we were playing outdoors in front of 15,000 people.
Wow.
And we honored. I mean, it was as if you were at a Fleetwood Mac concert.
Yeah, sure.
We changed in between our sets. It was, it was honorable. It was just a fantastic experience.
So you're in a band, and now you're doing
This is hilarious. This has nothing
to do with
the
me.
festival.
I know. And I was just about to segue to there.
That's okay.
So you have both love for music and movies.
Oh, yes, always.
And how did that start? Your love for movies. Do you remember the first time? Was it a motion picture, television?
That's an interesting question. I really haven't gotten to that aha moment with that. I know that my dad used to make movies, and he had one of those things there.
The reel-to-reel?
The reel-to-reel, and it was 16 millimeter, and I found that, it's funny, but I used to love the sound.
Yes. Yeah, right. Yes.
So I loved the texture of film. I love that you could hold it up to the light, and see the images frame by frame. And then I loved when it would go really fast and you'd see something on the screen. I just remember, sticking up a white sheet and, projecting something on that. And I'm like, this is cool. Plus, I love popcorn.
The excuse for popcorn.
The excuse for popcorn.
I love it. I love it. I do want to take the time to thank you for coming in.
Oh, you're so sweet. So I have totally gotten through my privacy issue. Apparently.
now you're see. Now we know. You love music. You're in a Fleetwood Mac tribute band.
I mean, I've been pretty blessed that through all the eclectic experiences that. My parents were divorced, so my dad was babysitting me, and basically he took me to work. And I was really lucky that he, what do you do with a kid that's, curious and adventurous and, wants to climb a tree? You stick them on stage, or you give them, I don't even know what the name of the light is, but I remember he said, okay, when this happens, just move this silver lever down and back. And so I would just sit there and wait till that thing happened, and then I would move, the silver thing, and it would be perfect, and it was just like so much fun. I remember seeing a steel guitar for the first time, and I was the height of the steel guitar, and I was fascinated because I used to play piano, and I'm like, what is this? It's a guitar. No, it's not. It doesn't have a neck. Well, no, this is a steel guitar.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Just fascinating stuff. Country bands. I met Slim Pickens.
Slim Pickens.
I think I even sang, I'm sure they unplugged the mic because I was a kid, but
Sure.
So it was a way to keep me busy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, while he was working.
That's fantastic.
It is.
and look at you now.
Well, now, yeah, but I've only sort of admitted all this in the last few years.
And in the last few minutes.
True.
We're approaching our first commercial break, but thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Oh, thank you. And I know we got so much to cover, and we still got plenty of time.
Oh, good.
All right. Thanks, Susan. Hey, well, this is Gus Summers, and you're listening to The In Show. And we have in-studio guest, Miss Susan Johnston, and we're going to be talking more about her new Media Film Festival and so much more that she does. So you hang in there. We'll be right back. And this is The In Show. And I'm your host, Gus Summers. Good to be back with you today. We got another great show. We have in-studio guest, Miss Susan Johnston of the new Media Film Festival. And now here we are. Perfect segue, back on topic. We digress slightly, but it was a wonderful digression.
It was fun.
You know how quickly it makes me laugh how, once you start talking, the memories start flooding back in.
They do start flooding back in. We went back. We went way back.
So you were telling me how I asked you about your music, a love of music and movies, and being brought forward now. Now you're in charge, co-founder of the music.
I'm actually founder director.
Founder. Yeah. Okay, you are founder director.
There was one time in San Francisco when we did a one-day satellite festival that I had a co-founder because she was the one that... Actually, she was a co-director. She was a co-director because that's the title she wanted, and she was doing half the work, so I said, great. But for the festival,
You are a founder.
Founder director. Well, when you reflect when I reflect and look back, and I had to recently because, there's something sad happening with one of my family members. And so I reflected back and I went, I thought about life, why am I doing what I'm doing? And I realized that it is my parents. It's the journeys that my dad took me on. It's the great communication and the vivaciousness for life that my mom had. And that's really the foundation of who I am today. Then being so curious and so energetic and just willing to jump in and roll up my sleeves gave me such a dearth of experience. I mean, both good and bad, but you look at the bad and you go, okay, well, I don't want that to happen again, so what do I do differently? And I really feel that New Media Film Festival encompasses every single ounce of experience that I've had in my entire life. And then, of course, all those people that have been around me through that journey along the way. And I mean, if you go to newmediafilmfestival.com, you click on the About page, you'll see my board of directors. I mean,
Yes.
I have an artistic director who's 72. Shh, not supposed to say that out loud. Has a PhD in film. Taught at Babson Film Studies. You go talk about watching a film. Go watch a film with someone who has a PhD in film and teaches film study. It is just so fascinating. Like, I'd have him whisper in my ear. I know you're not supposed to talk in the film, but it was just fascinating. Everything from mergers and acquisitions to, production company owners, Erin Gray, a well-known actress, cinematographer who, got nominated for an Academy Award, all different. These are my friends. These are my peeps, so to speak. Yeah.
That's great. Just hearing you talk, I can hear the passion that you have.
Oh my goodness. You cannot work this hard, this long in 4 years and not have the passion. I mean, literally this morning, I think I went to bed at 12:30 and got up at 5, and I went, no, I need to sleep. No, I need to exercise. I need to eat. No, you need to get up and you need to do work. And there I was. The good thing is I type 95 words a minute.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then I have those great privacy issues that means I can filter who actually gets access to me. So it is passionate. I've also taken this last year to streamline, and I do have some staff now, which is fantastic. I'd love to be able to hire more, and we will. And our 5th year is coming up next year, so I look at it and I go, okay, that's a landmark year.
Sure.
And so I actually wrote down on here, ask Robert Redford if I can give him a Lifetime Achievement Award, for the reason that I was sitting on the grass, this long rolling grass in Newport, Rhode Island, in front of the mansion that's in the movie. And I'm sitting talking to some people, and I believe I was 10 or 11 years old, and I felt something. And I turned, and there was this gorgeous, stunning being that just had light coming out him from everywhere, although he was backlit by the sun. But still, there was this beautiful being walking towards me, and with this great smile, saying hi to everyone, and it was Robert Redford. So see, it's those layers of interaction on that level that I feel blessed that
Yes.
I've been able to have
Yes.
lots of opportunities. My dad had me meet Joe Frazier. I was going to have me meet James Brown, but I couldn't do it because I had actually, when I say meet, I mean work with them.
Yes.
And it's different. It's different when you work with them than just say hi from a
Yes.
distance.
Right.
He would fly, like famous people would come in to do shows,
Yeah.
and he owned a fish and chip restaurant because apparently the chop shop wasn't enough and these film gigs weren't enough. Don't I sound like my dad's daughter? And so he would go, he would call me babe. He'd go, babe, go across the street. There was a lake. And I would sit. I wouldn't know. At that time, I was 13 years old. What did I know? What did I care? But he would have these older, famous worldly people sit with me on the grass at a lake and just talk about life. Wow.
Yeah, and everyone's different perspective and experience.
But I'm just talking to some cool dude.
Yeah, and it's Robert Redford. And
that one wasn't
Oh,
Robert.
was it?
Robert came over, but I'm talking about when my dad had the fish and chip restaurant. I think
Oh,
he
okay.
just wanted to get me out of the restaurant.
Okay.
But yeah. So anyways, so what happens with New Media Film Festival is because I have I don't have any fear in technology. I
Right.
just don't.
Right.
I figure I start back here where
Yes.
I am, so why not try? And at one point I tested the Panasonic Varicam, and it was the first live remote talk show way back when. Then the Panasonic DVX 100, gave some notes along with other people in that crew, became an A. Red asked me to help them. I just took a meeting on their Scratch program, and I just said, this is all lovely, but I've already been a test bunny for one sort of technology, which was HD at the time. I don't need to go in the 4K resolution. Let's save that for someone else. But let me take all these people, like Chuck Hafley, who owns Big Vision Rentals and can do a 12 camera shoot with his eyes closed. And, I ran his studio for 2 years, and I would see these camera guys come in with They were toys. They would come in with their toys, and they would actually put their toys together like Legos. They just happened to be expensive equipment and lenses and different types of cameras and resolutions, and they would just play. I mean, how fascinating. So that's part of why New Media Film Festival, I call it a creative sandbox where you can create, learn, and do. The whole point is, what are you making? Why are you making it?
Right.
And what are you going to do with it when it's done? Because why do you want to take all this time and energy out of your life, regardless of if someone gave you the money or not? Why do you want to take this time and money out of your life to not have it be shown to the world?
Right.
So I say to people, what story are you telling? How are you telling it? And where will it go later? And then in that meantime, I had no idea I was going to get into distribution. But I found that new media content specifically didn't have an avenue of where to go. So in that long journey, I've learned quite a lot, but we have everything from 2,000 digital places we can distribute, hotels, Windows 8 app under a film company. We just signed a contract where we can beam compilations. Remember compilations
Yes.
in music?
Yes.
That was a big thing way back when. We can beam compilations of long format new media content to theaters across the world. So I don't know if this is just a system other people use, but I didn't have a system, so I had to create one. So I said, okay, we'll take the total running time, and then, whatever amount of money comes in for that, we divvy it up by cost per minute, second, whatever. And then, so if you gave me a 6.36 and someone else gave me a 7.24, I just multiply that times that, and that's what you get paid. And it was really funny because the first time, I paid filmmakers, I tried paying them PayPal,
Yes.
and then they didn't cash it. And I was so proud, this was like back in 2010, the very first time I paid filmmakers, you'd think someone who had a 1-minute film that got money
Yes.
would at least send an email saying thank you,
Right.
or cool, or fab, or okay, or just the letter K.
Yeah.
Nothing. I had one person out of all the filmmakers say thanks, and it was a little daunting because it was so much effort to make this happen. But I went, okay, put that aside.
Right.
It's your job to sort of keep moving forward, and
Yes.
then they'll catch up with you.
Right.
The other thing, too, is back in 2010, a lot of what we wanted to do, a lot of what we were doing, the tools were not in place.
Right.
So this fourth year, thank God, was so much easier than, the 3 years prior. And
It's, hearing you talking, I'm with you. And it's amazing because it sounds like it's a conversation, well, way back when in 1979, but it's
4 years ago.
It's 4
Oh my
years
God.
ago,
Ask me about new media. It changes every second.
doesn't it?
It does. I'm learning new things every moment, and I think that's why I love being in it.
Right. Now, let me ask you about the name. Obviously, the name meant about new media. Yeah.
Well, see, that's a good question because remember, we'll go back to the United Nations, the Futurist Program, the Millennium Project. It was tied in, I didn't tell you all this, but it was tied in with Wagner and C3. And you look at that. So I was going to call it, what was I going to call it? I think visual film, Vision Film Festival. Get
okay.
your vision out there to the world. But it was more, anyways. So David Kleiler, who I told you about, is my artistic director. We're
Yes.
out at lunch. And he goes, why do you want to call it Vision Film Fest? And I said, because, it's about conscious thinking and storytelling that can raise the vibration of the planet. And he just looks at me and he shakes his head. And I go, what? And because I'm into quantum physics.
Okay.
And he said to me, you're only going to speak to the same people that you speak to. And I said, okay, what do you want me to do? He goes, we'll do something different. And I go, I'll just switch it. My categories, because my categories were always going to be new media.
Okay.
But my title was going to be what our mandate is. Our mandate is honoring stories worth telling.
Right.
So it just switched it.
Okay.
Yeah, and it actually worked because new media is infinite possibilities.
Yes.
It will always be here. It cannot change. I'll give you an example. Let's go back to music for a minute. Do you remember the 8-track?
Surely.
Then it became a cassette.
Cassette.
And then it became a CD.
Uh-huh.
It's the difference between a cassette and a CD.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's a new word for a new way of doing things. And because it's new, all new things can filter through it. So I just say there's infinite possibilities.
Fantastic. Look at that. I knew there was a story behind that. I just can't say, I pulled it out of a hat.
Yeah, no. Well, it's funny because other people, we had to trademark the name because
Right.
other people kept borrowing it.
Yeah, sure.
And they say that when someone borrows something of yours, it's a huge compliment.
Yes.
But you also sit down and go, they might have deeper pockets, which means that they can just take all your hard work, which
Sure.
you can see that it's my entire life at this
Right.
point. So it's
Yes.
like, no, you can't just have my life and my
Yes.
experiences.
Yes.
So we trademarked it, and I would just say, send a really nice letter, please cease and desist.
Yes.
And then if someone got nasty, I'd say, okay, well, you can continue using it, but please know I have a trademark, which means at some point I can come in and take all the money that you made on it. And it's not for any other reason then.
Yes.
Don't try to take my life.
Right.
I mean, this is my life, my experience, and, why don't you join the ride with me? Why don't
Yes.
you team up with me? Why don't you say, how can we do a win-win?
Right.
But to just sort of
Take
take
it.
without asking,
Yes.
shame on you.
Shame on you. Yes. Very good. Look at you, and a fighter as well.
Oh, yeah. Growing up under my dad, you had to,
Yeah.
you had to be a fighter.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we reached our commercial break.
Okay.
Again, Susan, thank you.
Oh, thank
great,
you.
great
This is a lot of
stories.
fun.
Oh, thank you for that. Appreciate it. We still have plenty of time to talk about
Oh,
the
good. We'll talk
categories,
about all these
kinds of
people that
stuff.
are coming
Yes.
and what kind of stories they're telling and why. Because I'm
Fantastic.
sure there's a filmmaker out there that wants to know
Yes.
how they can tell their story to the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll do that. Thank you. All right. Hey, well, this is Gus Summers, and you're listening to The In Show. And we have in-studio guest, Miss Susan Johnston of New Media Film Festival. And we're going to have a lot more of her in our next segment, so you hang in there. We'll be right back. Well, this is Gus Summers, and you're listening to The In Show. And we have in-studio guest, Miss Susan Johnston of New Media Film Festival. But that's not all, am I correct? You also have a casting and selected services and such.
So Select Services Films is a production company that evolved out of my very first film, which is Room 32. You can find it online. It was a 35 millimeter short way back in 2003 when shorts were just getting started. And I was actually testing the HD cameras, but I felt that if I made my first film, it had to be 35 millimeter.
Yes.
So anyways, that won awards. It got distribution. Spider-Man 3, wanted to look at it for their film because it was one of a rare color film noirs in 35 millimeter
Yes.
online. And so that production company owns Susan Johnston Casting, because if you're going to produce a film and you've got to cast a film, it's just easier. If I'm
Yes.
going to cast you, I save a step
Right.
by having the casting company. And I've gotten to work with some really great people on their projects. There's actually a Jim Belushi film coming out soon that I was proud to work on, but I can't go to the wrap party because it's the same night as my film festival,
Oh, no.
which is June 11th and 12th at the Landmark. And then out of Susan Johnston Casting and Select Services Films came New Media Film Festival. So that
Okay.
it kind of owns that.
Yeah.
And then, in the, we all have to pay our bills. So, and there's 365 days in a year, and I'm really good at managing time. So I get hired occasionally to work on things, and I got to co-produce a feature-length film called Dreams Awake. And it's been on the film festival circuit, winning awards. Jerry Deal directed it, and Barry Deal executive produced it. But that's how I met Erin Gray. You might know her from Silver Spoons and Buck Rogers in the 25th Century.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please steal my heart. I remember
that film really has a lot of quantum physics elements to it. We shot in Mount Shasta, on Mount Shasta, 11,000 feet up in the air, and a lot of wonderful fifth dimension-esque things happened while we were up there. So
Really?
beautiful experience all around. It's funny because I've asked if I could screen the trailer. I wouldn't. It wouldn't be in competition if I've worked on something, but because it's doing so well on the film festival circuit, totally his call. So I can't even really help the film.
Right.
Because I don't own it, but
Right.
all you can do is offer opportunity, and if someone doesn't want it, you just say, okay, great, thanks, next.
Next.
Next, that wonderful word that
Yes.
Hollywood has.
Yes. Next.
Which I want to say to filmmakers, please don't take it personal if you're not accepted.
Right.
I mean, we have judges from Pixar and Fox, and we recently had Industrial Light and Magic and the Caucus, which are all the TV, stalwarts, that built the system that we're using today. And Grammy nominees and Gemini winners and Academy people. It's just we're delighted that you submit.
Yes.
We really have 3 people watch your content. They grade it. You have to be like 1 through 5, and then you have to be a 4 or 5, to actually get to the next level. But I look at every single thing. So, just, it doesn't mean anything other than try again.
That's
Try
right.
again.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely. Because maybe not this moment, but who knows at the very next moment.
We don't know.
That's
Try
right.
again.
All right. There's a whole quantum theory right there. Maybe not in this reality, but alter it for the future.
Well, actually, the machinima category and the digital comics category came out of my production company because we optioned a Marvel graphic novel called Prey, Origin of the Species. And I've been packaging that for 2 years, believe it or not. I know, juggling it all. We finally have gotten it to an A-list director that seems interested. I'm going to be talking and doing some conversation with that today. So because of the digital comics, I got into, we have a category, digital comics, which actually Lou Ferrigno is in one called The Liberator, and that's in our closing night programming. And then Machinima, our judge is Tony Dyson, and he created R2D2.
That's fantastic.
So it's just, see how one thing leads to another,
Yes.
to another. So if you go, for me, if I move forward from my heart center with that passion and that vision of, what I see that is helpful to a global community of filmmakers, it seems to be working for me.
That's fantastic.
And them.
Right. And tell us a little bit of the process about new media. How can someone submit? Obviously, they go to the website. There's information
there's
and such.
an industry staple called Without a Box, which is always lovely to have these industry staples. But if you've heard anything about what I said today, it's really hard for me to function in a Fortune 500 society. I do it, but it's hard for me. The little rebel in me still exists. So I like options. So what other ways can you do that? You can submit directly through the website, newmediafilmfestival.com. You just go to submit. In alphabetical order are our 18 categories. 3D, LGBT, SRC, LGBT, lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, because we own a stories worth telling, and we pick stories that are fantastic. They just happen to be same-sex couples.
Right.
How other can you let the world know that, relationships are relationships. It kind of doesn't matter if you're boy, girl.
Right.
Just as long as it's a healthy, happy relationship.
Right.
We have SRC, socially responsible content, some wonderful stuff there. We have Snipplers, which is a brand new category, and it's a 30-second pitch. And the
wow.
reason why is in this fast-paced society that we're in. Remember when MTV videos first came out? We were
Yes.
all like, wow! Well, it's like MTV quantified.
Yes.
It's just snippets of a trailer, and we programmed 5 of them. New York, Singapore, Australia. And they're stunning. They have a beginning, middle, and end. So instead of saying a log line, instead of, giving me your synopsis, your treatment, or your full
Yes.
script, you go, let me just open up this link. Do you have 30 seconds?
Yes.
You have 30 seconds,
I
and
love
you're
it.
going to go, wow, this person knows how to tell a story.
Yes.
Because you get the idea of the arc of it.
Right.
And so that's pretty exciting. We've got that going on. We accept features, documentaries, shorts, web series, new media scripts.
I love it.
Yeah, pretty cool. Final Draft is on board as one of our sponsors.
Wow.
We give $45,000 in awards. Each category gets a winner. We have animation. Oh my gosh, the animation this year, Pixar, I love them.
Could imagine.
He's the only one that hasn't responded yet to my category, but I did email him this morning. Our animation is so opposite,
Yes.
and they're both so beautiful, and that's when you go, wow,
Right.
that's why you have a film festival, that's why you program, that's why you screen, because they are equally brilliant, equally beautiful, so different.
Yes.
How can you
Yes.
say yes or no to one or the other?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Right.
And then, so I guess if you submit, what happens is, you're logged. We log you by your email, because we have the 2 different ways to come in, and we found that it's a little cumbersome because people email us from another email,
Right.
and then we can't find them because they think we remember their title, but
Yes.
they're using a different email. So I'm like, what
Who
the hell
are
are you
you?
talking about? But we look at you to screen, to be in competition, or to distribute. And honestly, if we also refer out. So I'm part of UFFO, believe it or not. It's a film organization, a film festival, United Film Festival organization. So we help each other. So if there's a festival in San Francisco that deals strictly with elderly issues, and I have something that maybe I can't use, I'll refer it to them.
Right.
And so we just connect the people together.
Fantastic.
Or in Germany recently, there was a conference on visual effects and animation, and they needed some programming, and I'm like, okay, because thematically or total running time or what do you need,
Right.
and then we'll find it and we'll hook them up. So there's other ways behind the scenes that people don't see.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's part of the festival itself.
It is
It is.
If you, I mean, I've done work for Greenpeace, Save the Bay, Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I mean, I went before a Senate committee hearing to garner funds for them, and I got it after they said no. I mean, I actually took out a loan to write a song, to write 3 different songs that I gave one to Japan and one to the National Coalition. I gave the other one to Greenpeace, and then Wish Come True. And it's just like, okay, so I took out a loan, and I actually hired famous musicians to do this song so I could give it away. And I'm not, I don't have deep pockets. So
Right.
I'll just go back to, I've always followed my heart, I've always followed my passion, and by the good grace of God, I've paid my bills, and it seems to be working for everybody, so we're good.
Yeah.
So if I can, let me segue back to what I told you when I first saw you today. The very cool thing is yesterday we sold out of the theater that we were in at the Landmark, which is great.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
still had people wanting to go.
Yes.
So it's like, what do we do? So the Landmark switched their schedule so we could have their largest theater, which is fantastic.
Yes.
But now I don't want to have empty auditorium because I've doubled my size.
Yes.
So what we did is we created a discount code so people can get 20% off.
Beautiful.
Get to see everything from beginning, middle, and end, closing night, opening night. There's an opera singer opening night. There's 3D opening night. There's a VIP soiree with drinks and little noshes. That code is Chapman, CHAPMAN, yes, for the university, all capital letters, and you just go to newmediafilmfestival.com, click on attend, and you have choices, tickets or badge. Click the badge, and you'll get 20% off, and we hope to see you there.
Beautiful.
Red carpet and all.
Look at that. Fantastic. Fantastic.
And actually, you heard it first here, because
Yes.
I just created the remember I was telling you?
You did. I was
just
going to
created
have
the code.
I was going to have the exclusive.
You have it.
You have it. All right. That's what we like here, the first on the end show. Fantastic. Susan, again, I'm having a blast.
Thanks, I am too, except it's a little memory lane. I might need a strong coffee after this.
It's that's what makes the story so beautiful. Everything that has happened, like you were saying, things that your parents did, how they affected you, and here you are, a success.
Well, you were asking
and
me,
everything.
I don't think we were on air, but I'm looking at these machines behind you. The building we're in has been around since 1968, which is so cool. It's vintage radio stuff, which is like, to me, it's real radio.
Yes.
Right? Versus, sorry, plug and play, satellite. And so, I don't know what those machines are. The reel-to-reel, you said?
Yes.
Well, my dad had one. He was making, I think, 16-millimeter films, and I used to love to hold the film up to the light.
Yes.
You'd think it was a slide. We used to have the slide thing, and we would actually take pictures and put them in an order to make a movie on the slide projector. Do you
Yes.
remember that?
Yes, I do.
Because if you go really fast,
You can see
or
it.
slow up. So actually, that's really kind of funny. We were making films with slides.
Yes.
I don't even think you can make those anymore.
Yeah, I think you have to go somewhere.
Wow. And I remember one of the first times I recorded was on one of the reel-to-reels, and it was the brown tape. And so you would sing, and you know how you would double or you'd back up or echo
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
You'd actually have to stop, cut, and then
I
re-thread.
I do remember. And make sure it lined up just right. The cut would be
Right.
just right.
Yeah, so this is definitely memory lane and a lot of fun.
Yeah, fantastic. We still got one more segment, so plenty of time to cover. the
Yeah,
last
let's
little
talk
bit.
about who's coming,
All
where
right.
they're coming from.
Yeah, you bet.
That'd be cool.
Okay. All right. Hey, well, this is Gus Summers, and you're listening to The In Show. And with in-studio guest, Miss Susan Johnston of New Media Film Festival. And we're going to have a lot more of her in our last segment. So you hang in there. We'll be right back. And this is The In Show. And I'm your host, Gus Summers. Good to be back. We have in-studio guest, Miss Susan Johnston, and we are talking about your new media film festival, which is the 11th and 12th.
It's coming right up Tuesday and Thursday at the Landmark on West Pico. We're very excited. All information is at newmediafilmfestival.com. Give you an idea of the sense of new filmmakers and filmmakers that you know and love. Eric Roberts is in the Whipping Club based on a book, and Matthew Modine created an app based on Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket diary. Stanley told him, "Hey, just take some photos and write a diary as part of your, research on your character." And it's an amazing app. So see how technology can just catch up with you.
Yes.
And Matthew Gray Gubler is in the Learning Curve based on David Sedaris's book.
Wow.
And so those are people you know and love that have graciously given their time at not, top dollar rate, maybe even for free, to help these new media filmmakers. So that's great. Now you cut to, we were talking during the break about some of the stories behind the story, the film, because we own our stories worth telling. So one of the people is, there's a UK socialite. Her name is Amanda Elias. And we have The Gun, the Cake, and the Butterfly, which is, we have the trailer showing. It's a worldwide premiere of the trailer, and it's for her documentary. What I discovered about Amanda, besides being absolutely delightful, is that, when I told her she was accepted, she said to me, she goes, "My ex-husband told me I couldn't make a film." She said, "I went out and made my film because he told me I couldn't make it." And I'm like, "Good. He lit a fire under your rear end so you could do what your calling was doing, and I'm delighted to accept your trailer." But it goes to show you that regardless of your economic place in life, we still have emotional things that we have to deal with that transform us, transpire us. What do we do with that moment?
Yes.
And so it's poetic because she writes poetry, and I mean, she had something happen when she was young that you go, wow. And the way honest to goodness, the way she did it was poetic. And I went to her, I said, how do you even say that? Like, poetic. And I was like, that's brilliant, because it's hard for people that haven't had that experience. I've had a lot of trauma in my life, no need to go into it on this one, but when you've gone through it, you can relate. When you haven't, you don't want to engage with it. So what she did was so brilliant. I was like, yay.
Wow.
Then the other person I was talking about, which is so fascinating, is Irina Maliva. She's from Bulgaria, and Fellini discovered her.
Really?
And then she's worked with Fellini on 3 films. She worked with Orson Welles in The Merchant of Venice, and that's all cool, right?
Yes.
Well, she has a music video in the festival, and she's doing, please don't hate me right now because I haven't slept in a week. I think it's Cole Porter or Irving Berlin's Let's Face the Music and Dance. I know people are going to contact me through the festival because there's a contact button. And it's a great, it's a great music video. It's lovely on many levels. Now, her story is that her dad worked under the king of Bulgaria in the army, and Hitler's death trains were coming through Bulgaria, and her dad forced his troops to lay on the track. And see, I got goosebumps when I tell you this.
Wow.
And in essence, stop the trains, and 50,000 Jews were let free from the train.
Wow.
See what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, these are stories. So a lot of people like to, their first project, they tell writers, write what you know.
Yes.
And so I do understand that you write what you know, and a lot of people try to make documentaries. I'm giving you these 2 examples to show you how people from, all economic countries are telling their stories where other people around the world can relate to them, and it's really not all about them.
Right.
Because even though, Amanda's is about Amanda, it's really not about her. It's this poetic little safe place between what I experienced and what I'm doing. You know?
Yes.
Let's see, what else? There's this lovely 12:15 Sunday. This was one, I'm saying it on the air. Gosh, you heard it first because I'm not supposed to say this out loud. But that's one that bantered around the office, so to speak. It's about the military, about a true story. Has machinima in it, so it's a doc. It's machinima. It's war, life, live action. And you just look at this and you go, wow, regardless of if you're, anti-war or you relate to that war, it's a neat little story. So it was fun because we have different ages and we have judges from all over the world, so they view things differently. And that was one that got a bit of conversation about, because someone in Singapore doesn't really know the British War.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And so, that was the one that kind of got the dialogue going,
This is fascinating. You're talking about the filmmakers who, in and of themselves, have stories.
Oh, yeah.
And they're telling different stories, and that's great.
Oh, it's so great. There's this guy in New York who did this black and white web series on Simple Eats. That's his title, Simple Eats. And he kind of got in on the radar because we accept films like 6 weeks before the festival because we know it gives people that edge to get it done.
Right.
And we want fresh content. So I think I'm calling him up like midnight on the night that we wrapped, and I just said, okay, I want the collard green one. And he goes, you want episode whatever? And I said, the collard green one. You had a wrap, you put some really cool stuff in it. And it was so cute because it was his girlfriend that was filming it. It was in his apartment. He was shocked that he even got accepted, but I guess because he loves cooking.
Right.
Someone knew how to frame a shot. Someone knew how to edit it. He chose the right tools to make his product. It was the right length. And so it was really neat to get that enthusiasm last minute under the radar. Please email me this. I need this. Or there was only one photo that I didn't get that because I'm so close and he was in Australia, so by the time he got back to me, I just could not put him in the program guide.
Yes.
But it's Penguin Island.
Yes.
And it's on the Art on Wall exhibit. What we do is we curate. So remember I told you you'll submit and you'll get all these things you don't even know about?
Yes.
You just please take the blinders off of the horse's face. So you're not just submitting for screening, competition, and distribution, but you are, so that's what I put in print. What you don't know is there's this little Santa's elf shop, of people trying to get your stuff out there in different ways.
Right.
And oh gosh, what story was I telling you when I got there?
He submitted a photo to you.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the penguin guy. And so he was in Australia and he came back, and that you have to curate the Art on Wall exhibit. So I said to him, I can't get you in the program guide, which is online, and you'll get one when you come to the festival. But we made this big poster that looks just like what you see in the program guide, but there's little Penguin Island. And it's going to be so stunning. It's a really stunning visual piece about this island where all these, animals exist. But
Right.
imagine it just splat right on the wall. Remember, it harkens back to my days of putting up the sheet and just having images thrown on it. We also have the Temptation of St. Anthony, which is a good graphic. I don't want to say graphic like it's dark, but it's this graphic cacophony of just images making a statement. And we have this fabulous dance piece from Lily Baldwin out in New York. So penguins, St. Anthony, and dance. All visual dance, all in the same program.
Wow.
Right? But stunning visuals, pretty
Yes.
cool. So even while you're walking around the festival, you're going to walk through stories.
You're going to see a glimpse of the festival represented everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, between the International Art Exhibit. Oh, and we have a new media marketing table, so take your business cards and postcards. You get to place one, take one. It's free.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty popular because that's how you find out, who's
Everybody
doing what
else.
and
Yes.
who can I hire or who can I work for.
So a whole networking event,
Yeah.
film festival, and
Oh yeah, Pop
art-
Chips. Sorry, Pop Chips
Oh, yeah,
Chips
don't forget-
Networking Lounge. They're gonna have a networking lounge for us. We love our Pop Chips.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're down to the last couple minutes. Anything that we missed that
Well, I
you'd
just
love to throw out?
I'd love people to tell their stories. However, that story is best fit to tell. It could be
Yes.
pen and paper. Could be that
Nice.
fun little flip camera you have there, or your cell phone, or your tablet, or 35 millimeter. I'd love if you can attend. If you can't, tell a friend to attend. And Chapman,
Yes.
in all capital letters, will get you 20% off.
Nice.
And you can actually exchange that badge. So if you bought the festival badge.
Yes.
And you could only go Tuesday and I could go Wednesday. You guys can split it. Your name's not on it, so you're good.
Oh, look at that.
We want you to attend. We want you to have fun.
You want to have the
But
people
the
there.
badge gets you everything, and it's less expensive than if you piecemealed. So that's
Yes.
why that's the best deal.
Oh, okay. And it's newmediafilmfestival.com, right?
Yep.
And that's not just for the festival. That's for this year. It's for everything. It
For
lists
everything, yeah,
there.
we have events throughout the year. I was in Romania last year. If you want to just go to one programming, we sell tickets through the landmark, so you can fest your way.
Fantastic.
And if you want to contact me, just reach me through contact@newmediafilmfestival.com.
Beautiful. Yeah.
.com.
I had a blast.
Oh, I had a blast.
So did you?
Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, it was my pleasure, and I know you're so busy. And when I knew you were coming, I was like, wow, what an honor. It's only around the corner.
Well,
And,
what was funny
you
is
are.
that you were watching films this morning, and I was curious to see what you went and watched.
Yes,
So
yes.
there we were, all, talking about films still.
Yes, I have to tell you about what I saw. I don't know if I ever mentioned what I saw today.
You told me the title, and I didn't make the
Oh, okay.
connection, so that's why I didn't ask about it, because it
Okay.
wasn't something that I had heard through the grapevine.
Right.
But we can definitely
Yes.
talk about that. I hope, in some way, shape, or form, I was an inspiration for filmmakers to choose the story that they're going to tell and how they're going to tell it.
Yes.
Because whatever you do,
Yes.
you want someone to see it.
Yes.
And why not make something that stands the test of time?
Wow, a little
Besides
time
the four
capsule.
right.
Yeah.
Because,
The four people. Your mom,
the
your
four
uncle.
people that
your-
are closest to you that
You're right.
just think about it
Yes.
and execute according to your vision and your tools.
Yeah.
And if it's
Fantastic.
supposed to be a minute, it's a minute. If it's supposed to be an hour and 45, it's an hour and 45.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great inspiration. Great last words. I love it. I love it. Yeah, that was perfect. Go and follow your heart and your passion, no matter how long it is, or no matter what it is, get it out there.
If you asked me 5 years ago if I was going to do this festival, I would have said, what? What? What are you talking about?
Exactly. Susan, again, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much. And hopefully I see all of you come up and say hi. Tell me you saw me on Gus's show, newmediafilmfestival.com.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
You bet. Well, this is Gus Summers, and you're listening to The In Show, and we had in-studio guest Miss Susan Johnston of New Media Film Festival. Of course, you can visit her site and get all the information for the festival and everything else that she does. And, of course, visit us at theinshow.com, where you'll be able to see this interview and so much more. And, ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.